Oh, just as I go live, there's sound of what sounds like an aeroplane going off. We do apologise for that. Whatever that is, hopefully that will disappear in the background. Hello, everybody. It's another live with DCT recruitment for the podcast. And today we are talking to Clare Ellis. Thank you for joining us, Clare.
Hello, how are you?
We're fine, thank you. Now, listen, before we came on air live, you were just telling us that I can't quite believe this. You're going to be trekking across the Sahara Desert, which,
Yes.
you initially told us how far you were trekking, which was how many miles?
It's 67 miles or 100k.
Yeah, and I was thinking 67 miles. I mean, it's a long way, but I've done 40 miles in the day before now. All right,
Yeah.
I've done the Greensand Ridge walk in the day, so I was thinking, it's not too bad. But then you add in the Sahara Desert, that's a little bit different. Okay. So yeah, very, very hot during the day, very cold at night. How did you get into that?
Well, we're doing it on behalf of a charity called Nugent Care. They're a Merseyside-based charity, and what they actually do is they're very socially forward-thinking in the sense that they've got care homes for children. They've got facilities that kind of support people with disabilities or diversity, and then they also have things like dementia care homes, a food hub, hygiene hub. They do Christmas presents, for children at Christmas. So all of these different socially aware causes. We've supported them for a couple of years now. We go to things like their charity dinners and get involved with their golf day. But I blame a glass of wine and a little bit of peer pressure from some friends. Just goes to show how strong-willed I am.
And we went that strong will when you're there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we went to an event, and just a couple of people were talking about it, and I thought that's very interesting. That sounds exciting. And then somebody challenged me to join in because they were still kind of signing up participants. And initially, a whole list of excuses popped into my head. I'm overweight. I'm very unfit. I literally haven't done any gym work in the last 18 months. I don't think I'll be able to raise that amount of funds to support a project. Just all the excuses, really. And as I was talking to people that evening, they were all brushing away my excuses and making me look, like I was just being a bit, weak with it. So I don't like to be told that I can't do something. That's the other thing. I'm a female entrepreneur, and it's just so challenging to kind of, push yourself back so many challenges. So yeah, I signed up, and then in the melee of, friends going, "You'll be great at this," we have now since started training, and we are finally at 10 days away till when we actually leave Liverpool. So we're leaving Liverpool on the 11th of November, so next Saturday. And we arrive into Marrakesh on the Sunday morning.
Wow. Well, it'll be the opportunity of a lifetime, and
yes,
I'd say go enjoy it.
Yes,
part of you will.
Yeah, well, a couple of things. Sorry, Diane. A couple of things I am excited about is in my 47 years, I have never been to a place where there's been no light pollution. So this is such the geek in me. I'm really excited about going into the desert, having no light pollution, and being able to see the stars. That sounds really daft, but because I've lived in cities all my life, it's something that I've probably just taken a little bit for granted.
No, that's nice. I'm doing a fire walk on Friday, which my feet are going to be nowhere near as bad as yours. 67 miles across the desert, so I actually don't feel too bad now.
I wouldn't be surprised, actually, if the temperature that you're walking on isn't that different at times in the day.
Yeah.
Just don't watch the Jack Osborne documentary about when he did it before you go, because you just
don't watch it. Is it too depressing?
Don't watch it, because you'll be like, oh, what, people hallucinating and all of that sort of thing. Yeah, it's just
I might make me excuses not to go then.
Yeah, no, just don't do that. I'm curious, how did the two of you meet?
Was that a networking event, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, so we were at a networking event for BNI and FSB a couple of Tuesdays ago at the municipal building, and you promoted what you were doing, didn't you, Claire? Saying what you were doing there. So I just offered, would you like to come on our podcast and promote it here so we can help? You know, we like, you know, DCT, we like to help, you know, people, you know, not just find a job, but, you know, change people's lives and make a difference. So yeah, that's why we're here today. So, you know, we will offer you all the support we can.
Thank you. I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like, the reason why I'm doing it is because, you know, as I said, mentioned that Nugent are a socially based charity, and they've got a children's home. They've got a number of children's homes, and they have a belief that, you know, the child shouldn't have to go off site to learn things. You know, they shouldn't have to be forced away. Once they turn 18, they shouldn't be forced away to go into adult life, you know, independently. So they're trying to create communities where people can stay, you know, in the vicinity of Nugent's umbrella, you know, for most of their life, if that's what they need. And one of the projects I'm actually fundraising for, we all chose our individual projects, was a children's home, and we're creating a well-being space outside. So there's going to be wildflower planting and, you know, foraging and therapy animals, which is the bit I'm really excited about. And that's really what I'm fundraising for, is to kind of like be able to pay and look after those therapy animals and, you know, in that garden area. So it's a really important cause to me, because I've got my business is wellness in the city. So I'm all about wellbeing practices, you know, across the spectrum of pillars of wellness. And one of them is being outside, and one of them is interacting with animals. We all know that, you know, pets, we may not have our preferences with pets, but we all know that animals are amazing at making us feel better.
Yeah. Having grown up in the countryside, having then moved again to the countryside after living in a city for a while, I'm kind of almost always astounded that some people never see animals or the countryside or whatever until they actually venture out to a place where they can see it, you know, because it's just always been around me, apart from, as I say, a few years when I lived in like Sunderland city centre, surrounded by concrete. So yeah, it's, you know, these things are really, really important, and we've got a centre just down the road from us which takes in schools from all over the place. They, you know, students come in from London and young kids come in from London to meet animals, pet animals, you know, find out what it's like to have fresh air. It's very, very necessary.
It's such a simple thing as well. I mean, you know, if I'm feeling a bit anxious, or I've got a little bit of a low mood, which is quite often now, I've got perimenopause, but if I'm feeling like that, the first thing that I do is put some shoes on and get outside, and that physical movement of you know, kind of walking, just simple walking, doesn't have to be running, but just simple walking actually vibrates your energy, and things like, you know, your lymph nodes get kind of cleansed a little bit, so it removes any toxins that might have been built up in your system. The fresh air can wake you up. Put some music in your ears if you've got the headphones. You can just get on with things, and you come back so much more revived. Why would we deny children that opportunity? Like, children are already suffering.
Yeah, I think that's so important in this day and age as well. You know, the new generation of kids like to stay in. Everything they do, they want to be inside. Whereas, you know, our punishment as kids was being grounded inside, wasn't it? I think now parents need to start grounding kids and kick them out. And make them start doing stuff. So I think that's really important, that you're supporting that side of it, because getting them in with animals, and, you know, hopefully, you know, dogs or whatever, and they can take them for walks, and they're getting the exercise and getting out and about. Just, you know, it is important at such young age, isn't it, you know, to understand that that's needed, that, you know, being just in the four walls of your room constantly.
I think let's be fair about that as well, though. It's partly come about not just because the technology has evolved so that, you know, children want to be on digital devices all of the time, but it's also come about because of safety, hasn't it, as well?
Yeah.
When we were children, whether it was safe at all or not, we didn't know that it wasn't safe. We were, it was okay for our parents to kick us out, and we'd be down the wreck for hours on end, with whoever, and then make our way home when the sun went down. You just can't allow children to do that now, which is why it's important that there's funding for spaces where children can go and be safe
that
and
are
do
safe.
this stuff.
And bearing in mind, like I said, this is a children's home, so some of these children, may not have parents who are, their primary carers. It might be that, some of these children have some type of diversity in terms of neurology. So, maybe they've got, they're on a spectrum of autism, so they can't communicate how they're feeling. But when they connect with the outside, when they connect with animals, then it makes a big difference. And then also, people with mixed abilities as well, they may not necessarily work very well in a classroom, but they may work, well outside. And I think that's we've all chosen individual projects. As I said, Nugents are so fantastic. They look after people who are fleeing domestic abuse, people who have dementia. One of the chaps who's coming with us is, decorating, a dementia care homeroom. So there's lots of things there that are getting done well. But this is the one that I'm passionate about.
Well, listen, you did your own segue a little bit earlier really, really well. And normally I have to try and find a connection between what we're talking about at the beginning of a program and, the main part of somebody's journey. But you did that anyway. You said when you're challenged, you want to succeed, and you have that kind of entrepreneurial spirit. So tell us about your entrepreneurial journey with your wellness solution.
Well, it's the wellness side. The wellness in the city is my brand, is my trademark. And what I'm trying to do with wellness in the city is create a platform that people can come to it. If they're practitioners, if they're businesses, if they are Joe Blogs on the street, they can come to it and they can find a wellness solution. Unfortunately, we all are aware that the NHS is pushed to its limits, not just because of budgeting, but also because of demand. Too many people rely on a plaster on the situation as opposed to finding the root cause. So what we're trying to do with Wellness in the City is utilise the people who have got fantastic set of skills and qualifications. They're all very professional in what they do, and they come to us to demonstrate those services. So as an example, we run a women's wellness, hormonal health event. And there was ladies there like myself going through the menopause period that needed answers. And then there was also, a young lady there going through some gyno problems, which, leave people in a mist of fear and sometimes uncertainty. If we can help support them on that journey, then, brilliant, I've done my job. So what I notice is, as an entrepreneur, is I'm always looking for solutions to a problem. So one of my big things is I do a lot of ladies networking. I run my own networking group, but it's kind of connecting people and supporting people as much as I possibly can. That's really where kind of, my spirit comes alive, so to speak.
So tell me in practical terms, how does the solution work?
So for me, whenever I see an opportunity, so for example, if I have noticed that there isn't enough support for women's hormonal health, or even I'm racking my brains at this current few weeks. We've got International Men's Day coming up on November the 19th, and I'm racking my brains about how we can get men together to talk a bit more, because most men are renowned for not kind of really expressing their feelings, not talking about little niggles with their health and stuff like that. And a joking aside, I actually thought to myself the other day, do you know what? Probably the best way to get everybody together is to give them a bit of a pizza or snacks and a pint and get them talking.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I go to the networking event that's quite heavily dominated by males because it's construction and property, and they just call it a chip butty like night, so it's quite like laid back, and so I think, and they do that because they say like men don't really like networking as much as like we will, you know, so it's a bit more laid back, you know, so they feel comfortable to come, you know, and speak and stuff. So it's, and then what they do like is they do activities to sort of force people to speak, because if you just get them in a room and leave everyone to their own device, then it won't work. So maybe what you could do, so I know my son's on the spectrum, he's got autism, and when he used to go to some counselling sessions, he used to play this game, and it was I can't remember what the board game is called now, but it was about his feelings. So you play the game and then it come like with scenarios, and it'd say, oh, you know, the little boy has made the dad unhappy, why do you think that is? Do you know? And then he's have to sort of talk about an experience. So something like that maybe you could do, you know, because the scenarios are there, but you can do it in, you know, maybe more adult way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do like some cards, and then that way it sort of opens up the conversations, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's it, isn't it? It's admitting that we're all human beings as opposed to human doings. We shouldn't be running around doing stuff. We should be absolutely in the present. And, you know, having that connection with another human being and saying, look, I'm having a really great time. This is fantastic. But this is where I'm also being challenged. And noticing, you know, that your friends, your colleagues, people at networking. I said to somebody this morning, I said, you're looking a bit weary. Are you okay? Because I know for a fact he's such a generous soul. He's such a giver, you know, when he's out and about. And he said, I'm just tired. And I was like, okay, well, make sure you get some rest then. And I know that sounds like a really simple thing, but it's just recognizing when somebody is slightly off balance, your friend in work, or, you know, somebody who you maybe, you know, you contracted with. And I think it's great that we can be open and talk about these things and, you know, bring everybody together. That's what I'm all about, is bringing everybody together. So
I think as well, the thing is that we're beginning to see lots of entrepreneurs within the health and well-being sector begin to like try and overcome these problems of the users of various services, etc., finding it really difficult to actually find touch points because everything's so disparate in terms of the information and signposting and how do you get access and all of those sort of things. And also so much of the health and well-being sector, stroke healthcare, etc., has been eroded in terms of services, etc. And now what we've got there is that we've actually got a lack of services in some ways, or a lack of resources and funding in some ways, and it makes it, because then people then use systems to try and almost weed people out, it makes it even more difficult to get in. And when you do then get in, you've got long waiting times and everybody acts in silos, and so nobody kind of pulls things together.
Yeah.
And actually that's where technology should be being used in order to stop people having the same conversation over and over and over again. So I mean, I did a podcast a few weeks back, which isn't out yet, but with somebody in the physio sector who has built their whole practice on doing remote assessments, and it's gone ballistic because it's so needed. And what they were saying was that everybody else was saying, no, this can't be done, etc. But there were huge long waiting lists. People weren't getting in, they weren't getting this kind of help and support, etc. And it was causing people real problems, and it was having an adverse effect in the workplace. They found a way of looking at what the need was and actually meeting the need where the need should be.
Yeah. And this is it. I mean, again, you know, as a Joe Blogs, we have, say, for example, a problem. Let's say, for example, we've got a pain in our knee. We've just been talking about physio. We've got a pain in our knee. We have maybe taken painkillers, like your standard over-the-counter stuff from your supermarket. You go to your doctor, you try and get an appointment. It's absolute like chore to try and get in and see somebody because you genuinely believe there's something else wrong with your knee. And then people don't necessarily know what makes a good physiotherapist, what makes a good chiropractor, what makes a good acupuncturist. All these people could potentially help you. And you know, you don't know whether to go and spend your £40 on that particular sports therapist, for example, and then is that a wasted £40? And in the cost of living crisis that we're in at the moment, people can't afford to spend waste that type of money on somebody who isn't qualified, or you know, isn't going to help them. So what my vision is at the moment, we're very much an events-based business with Wellness in the City. So we've got an expo coming up in February in the Liverpool City Centre to try and bring together lots of elements of well-being. But in the long term, what my vision is to have a digital platform where anyone can go on there, whether it be a business or, you know, a member of the general public, they can put in their symptoms and it can throw back at them people who are qualified, people who are verified, people who have been reviewed to help those particular problems. I've got a knee problem. It's sore when I walk. That type of thing, and the AI develops some type of answer and then, you know, recommends like local practitioners. So we stop wasting our time and we stop wasting our energy trying to find
and
stuff.
let's face it, and I'm going to talk about a trade that Diane knows very well as well. You know, that is now becoming very quickly becoming the kind of infrastructure that we're all very keen on in lots of different sectors. So actually, both sectors that you do a lot of work in, Diane, I mean, you would not go to a restaurant unless you checked out TripAdvisor first and saw the recommendations. You know, yeah, the menu looks lovely, etc. But then when you go on TripAdvisor and go, the food's cold and the, you know, had to wait half an hour and whatever, you think, well, that's the reality there. So I'm not really going there. And the same with, you know, builders, etc. You know, you've got things like now like Check a Trade and things like that. You want to go to someone that's built a reputation. We all want to know, as you say, that actually there's something behind this, because it's too confusing otherwise. And unless you've actually ever used it before, how do you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, that's something to bear in mind, you know, like a lot of people could potentially recommend, and, you know, there's the whole melee of, you know, fake Google reviews and all the rest of it. But that aside, you know, what suits one person doesn't always suit everyone, but at least we can inform people. As I said, going back to this women's wellness event, we had a lady who had a condition called endometriosis. It's quite common. But this 23-year-old had been told by her GP to go away, come back in 12 months when the pain is much more severe. Now, as a 23-year-old, you may be considering, you know, what's my fertility like? Will I be able to have children? How bad is this going to be? What does, when the pain is more severe, even feel like? Yeah. And being able to talk to somebody who can potentially give her a supplement or improve their gut health, or give them an exercise regime to help manage, you know, if it is a painful day. And then speaking to a professor who specializes in endocrinology, which is all about, you know, your gut health and your fertility organs, like all of that gave her a little bit more reassurance. She walked out of that event and just went, right, I feel like I'm back in control. And if we can give people the power to take back their control of their well-being, great.
Do you know, have you heard of an app called My Sante, Claire?
Yes.
Yeah, so do you know Jenna?
Yes, yeah. I actually met Jenna for the first time at the Shout Expo in Liverpool.
Yeah, perfect. So we've had Jenna on, haven't we, Graham? Because we use that My Sante app for our candidates. But I was just thinking whether there could be like a bit of a bridge between what you're thinking and what could go into their app there, you know, with, and maybe you could collaborate together.
Yeah, we had a really good chat at the expo, and then we've done a Zoom since. So yeah, I am really, I'm really engaged with them. I think, you know, any forward-thinking business like that, it's just going to be brilliant.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
I think what's really key is really good human curation. And actually, however good AI becomes, etc., I think what we are all looking for as humans is that really good human curation, because in a way we're kind of fed up of AI curation. And then take it on a very basic level. If I talk to people about things like Spotify, people will say, "Oh, yeah, well, that playlist that it shot up at me, I don't like half the stuff on it." Yeah, well, of course not, because it's an algorithm based on, money, etc., that's throwing up that list of songs. What we really want is, from people that we trust, or we think have got the same kind of music taste as us, them recommending to us, these are songs that you might want to listen to, and then we feel, oh yeah, this is worth our time and effort doing it. And I think this is where we're beginning to see that coming into the health sector, because anyone could argue, why do I need an entrepreneur to come up with a space or whatever where I get this information? Google exists out there. I can literally just type in, but the thing is, Google or social media or whatever, everybody's opinion's out there. And that's the problem, that there is no decent curation of that. So when people create spaces with professionals in those spaces who can be verified or trusted, etc., then you get better trusting of that information.
Google's are like a needle in a haystack with things like well-being, because again, let's just say, for example, you wanted to go for something called like reflexology, so the massaging of the feet to help kind of like move your energies. I've been to some reflexologists down some like little shady side street and felt a bit intimidated, going in the evening appointments, or turned up at somebody's house and I'm a bit like, I don't know whether I like this. So, having all of this data online helps people feel reassured about the quality of it. And I think you're right, going back to what you're just saying, Graham, about, the human element of it. We're working on this expo now on the 1st of February, and I've got my team contacting businesses and practitioners and and other corporates, speaking to people firsthand and getting them to fill like in a data form so that we can kind of like research a little bit about them. But having, let's say, for example, I own a company of solicitors and I go along and I meet Diane at recruitment. I'm kind of like, what, I need some recommendations for recruitment. And I know this isn't your speciality, Diane, but if I needed some recruitment and you were like, actually, we've got some good candidates, and and I know that your well-being program is very important to you, to your candidates. So you can just have a conversation, and things like these expos are vital for stuff like that, because you can have a one-to-one with people.
Yeah,
definitely. And that in that space, you can then make good judgments about whether this is the right thing for you, etc. But the fact that actually they have they've turned up, that they're demonstrating what it is that they do, and they're committed to that in itself, and you've done some research into the people that are there. All of that should help people think these are good people.
I think the other thing about as well, just very briefly, is we're also running some masterclasses, and again, that's just there to give people a taster of what some of these specialist practitioners and businesses can do for you, whether that be you're a business owner and you want to have more well-being within your company, or you're looking for some really great events. The expo that we ran in January this year, it was at the Spine building in Liverpool, in Paddington Village, and fabulous, really, really fabulous. It was a great event. We had Gemma Longworth, who is part of TV program, and she did some creative arts. We had a very beautiful sound bath, but then we also had some motivational talk, and we had a gut health workshop. Got like a huge variety of stuff going on throughout the day. So it's having that opportunity to come out and find your person that you need in your life.
Yeah, definitely. So going back to your Himalayas.
Sahara.
Sahara. Even. Really? Sahara. How are you feeling with your 10-day countdown?
Fairly good. I was doing a walk on Sunday. I did a 30k, which is 20-mile walk, and got back into the car at the end of the walk. and you know, my ankles and my feet were hurting a little bit. My legs weren't too bad, but I went home, had a lovely hot bath, and then gone to a lovely comfy bed. All these things contributed to me feeling okay on Monday.
I was going to say, what you need to do for the next one is you need to, for the walk itself, you need to wear like 30 layers.
Yeah.
Right. So that you're sweating like mad. Okay.
Yeah. And then still do it.
And then do the walk with all of that extra, you know, all of that extra weight.
Extra gear.
And extra gear. And then when you get back, rather than getting into a nice warm bed, you need to get into a cold shower. Right.
I don't even think we're going to have cold showers, Graham. We're not even showering for a week. Yeah.
Oh no, but just to get your body used to it being cold after being hot, and then you'll be absolutely fine when you get.
What I might do is I might just go and stand out on the lawn because it's cold enough at the moment. You know.
Well, maybe. I was going to say maybe tent out at night.
Camp out,
Camp out in the back garden, yeah.
Well, you'd have a medical team on hands and stuff, Claire.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a great support team. It's obviously all professionally, you know, arranged. So we've got 2 brilliant guides that are coming with us. They're very experienced. They know what they're doing. And then we've got, you know, like a Sherpa team as well, doing the cooking for us and whatnot. So I'm sure it'll be a great experience.
Oh, no, it's going to be something that you'll never forget anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's amazing and for an amazing course. So well done.
Thank you very much.
So if you got your link so we can share that, as Graham got that, so we can share it and get you some, how far off you're on your sponsorship?
Well, I set myself a target of 3.5. Unfortunately, I'm not anywhere near that yet. I think I'm about halfway. So I could do with a little extra boost if anybody is in the financial position to support me. Businesses, this can be part of your ESG, because obviously it is a socially conscious business that we're going into socially conscious charity that we're actually supporting. So yes, I will send you the information, Graham. And if you could pop it in the link, I would very much appreciate it.
Well, we'll be doing some little clips from this for next week for Diane's post. And when we do that, we'll put the link in there as well. And then if people want to donate, that would be fantastic. Please do. You've got lots of things to give your money to. That's what, you know, don't just think that we're just popping up to get money off of people, but we are. So there we go.
Yeah, I mean, even if you can't necessarily support me right now, you know, just liking and sharing the post to somebody who might be able to help, or even just following, you know, the stuff that Nugent do. You might be maybe having a clear out at home and think, you know what, I want to get rid of these clothes. Or you might notice that, you know, there's things that you kind of want to shift, or you kind of got an extra Christmas present, you can donate it to Nugent. I'm all about supporting, you know, Nugent as a whole. As much as we can get their name out there and get them boosted, then that's my primary goal.
Yeah. Will they be at your exhibition? That's what I want to know. I want to know, are you filming any of this? And then, you know, maybe when people come along to the exhibition, they might be able to see some of it as a little video. That would be great.
That's a really good idea. I hadn't thought about that, actually. I do actually have like it's not a GoPro, but like a version of a GoPro. So I might be taking that with me. My friend suggested to me that the other day.
I'd do a diary, Claire, you know, like each day before you go for the walk, explain how you feel, what it's like, and when you come back, film yourself. I know at first you might feel weird just talking to the camera, but to what Graham said, you know, like, and if you needed help, Graham could help you with that, put it together, like, you know, you'd have that then, you know, as a thing. And even when you're doing your own stuff with your business, it's just showing, isn't it, like how, you know, you can have determination and you know, you're going to get through it, and that your mental state is what will get you there, because your mental state will give up before your body does, but we think it's the other way around, don't we? So, you know, so it'd be such a great blog to do, but you'll have to, you know, document it each day, and like your highs and your lows, you know, and it'll be amazing to watch back that.
Yeah.
Claire, if you're not on TikTok already, you will be, right?
Okay. Okay.
I think
I do have an account, but I'm not very good with it, to be honest.
Well, I think this should be the start of your TikTok empire, and you literally go on every single day, do your little bit on TikTok, do your recording, upload it. I think you'll be viral on TikTok before you know it. I mean, who doesn't want to watch somebody walking through the desert?
Yeah.
know?
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we all have this. I say all, not me. I'm talking from my own perspective here. Sometimes we all have this, like, oh, why does everybody want to know about me? But I suppose it is like a morbid curiosity with TikTok and Instagram these days, isn't it? That we all like to see what everybody else is doing, and
I think people generally
on.
want to see. I do think people want to see things that they, haven't had as experiences themselves, because not everybody's ever going to get the opportunity to go to the Sahara Desert and do that walk. For other people, it will be aspirational. That it will make them feel like they could do this, and I think any time that you do go through something like that, that is really good social media, because that shows people something that, it's something I would watch. I would want to see what it's like going through that experience, and you want to know genuinely what it's like, not the TV version of it where it's like, I did 100 miles today through the burning hot sand and haven't even broken the sweat. You want to see, like, my feet are blistered and all of that. That's great.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it, how one of my colleagues, Coral, she's just walked the Kilimanjaro, and again, what a fantastic achievement, climbing Kilimanjaro, and we're all being fascinated by how she's been doing it, waiting for her updates. So
that's now for you to do. Have the belief and get your own little TikTok going, and we'll follow you and share, and and then by the time you come home, you hopefully be hitting that £3,500, because when people see how tough it is and that you're still getting up and persevering, and then they'll want to donate and help.
Okay.
No,
good
absolutely.
idea. All right, I'm inspired. Thank you, Diane. Thank you.
Good. That's what we're here for. Claire, it's been an absolutely fantastic conversation with you. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
If people want to know more about what it is that you do, if people want to connect with you, where's the best place for them to go? The website, etc. Just give us some details.
Yeah, certainly. So I am quite, vocal on social media, so things like LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook. However, if you're interested in wellness in the city, just go to www.wellnessinthecity.co.uk. It's all one word, all lowercase, we are a Liverpool-based firm at the moment, so kind of do reach out to me. I will send you the links for my fundraising element, and if you want to follow me on TikTok, it is Wellness in the City as well. So
perfect.
There you go. Just in case anybody can't understand Claire's accent, which of course you can, and you'd rather read it off the bottom of the screen, it's right there at the bottom.
Yes.
Wellnessinthecity.co.uk. Do visit that at some point today. Get some more information. You got a lovely about section which explains everybody that's involved as well, which is really good. It's very clear and accessible site. Thank you so much for coming on, telling us your story.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for the invitation.
No, thanks, it was a pleasure. We'll be back sometime soon with more conversations from more business people about things that are changing the world. Until then, bye for now.